Today on the show, the pleasure of speaking with Travis Smith. Travis is the founder and CEO of Tribevest. He started his career with Morgan Stanley, but realized the most direct path to true wealth and financial freedom is in the private markets. He is now a partner in several investment groups that he calls his tribes that invest in single-family rentals, multifamily, and commercial real estate. However, his favorite part of the investment group is one that has enabled him to own vacation rentals and even own a racehorse with his brothers. His now obsession is to level the playing field, and he knows firsthand that forming investment groups is the great equalizer. As a result, he built Tribevest, an online platform where people can assemble their tribe, align, form, and operate their own investment group. I'm really pumped and excited to have him on the show today to share his incredible insight and knowledge. But enough of me, let's get him out here. G'day, Travis. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today, mate?
Great, Reed. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Mate, my pleasure. We were just talking a little bit in the green room before we press record here. You spent a semester or a summer in Sydney when you were 21. How was that, mate?
Oh, fantastic. I was a junior at The Ohio State University and came across an opportunity to do an internship with a company called Godfrey Pembroke, which was a financial investment firm there. I don't know if it's still there or not, but still some of my best friends today are from Australia and in Sydney. Just
that's awesome.
Wonderful part of my life. It's great.
And a good part of that, your life being 21, not a lot of strings attached, just going out there, throwing caution to the wind and giving it a go, right?
No doubt. A good time to be there. And, everybody was super excited to make sure I was just having the best time possible. So I'm always feel indebted to anytime I meet another Aussie.
Awesome, man. Well, look, we're not here to talk about Australian investing, but we are here to talk a little bit about you. So the first question I always ask my guests when they come on the show is, rewind the clock and tell me how you made your first ever dollar as a kid or a teenager.
Great question. And I'm probably going to dodge the question just to teens. I think, maybe the lemonade stand. And then I did work, as a busboy for a restaurant. But really the first dollar I made from nothing wasn't until I was 35 years old. And I knew I had an entrepreneur spirit. I knew in order for me to be fulfilled, I was going to have to follow that spirit. And that's when I built a online blog and community that targeted a very specific audience, and ended up getting a subscription base and making money in advertising. So not when I was a kid, but it took me a long time to really figure that out. Before that, I was always dependent on, the company I worked for.
But it's interesting that you say busboy because you're working tables essentially. That's a hard graft. And how old were you when you got that job? 17. Okay, yeah. So you knew the slog, right? Being on your feet for 8 hours, 9 hours a day, trying to work for your tips. It really instills the value of a dollar in when you grow up, and when you do make a little bit more money as a professional, you really do value that money because you've had to grind doing some probably jobs that we've all done. I remember being a dish pig and just been absolutely hating it, just scrubbing pots and pans and in the hot, sweaty kitchen. It was gross, but kept me going forward towards my goals. So you talk about a fulfilled and your entrepreneurial spirit. Was that something that your parents instilled in you growing up? Where did that come from?
Not at all. I was supposed to be a doctor, I guess. I come from a long line of doctors. But I look back at it and I think, gosh, a couple generations ago, it was a very entrepreneurial, profession. So now that I consider it, I do see that they were very entrepreneurial themselves. But no, it was very much go to school, go to get a good job, retire gracefully and die gracefully kind of thing, do what society tells you to do. And I was just unhappy. I was unhappy. There was something telling me that I needed to go and build something on my own. And it was one of these things I really had to find on my own. And I always joke that I was a 40-year-old founder when I finally did launch what is Tribevest. And I look back, it was all in the making. It was all leading up to that, but it took me a while to make the plunge.
And so talk to me about that. It sounds like nearly a 20-year career in corporate America. What was that like for you, knowing that you had that inner burn and inner desire to be more, or to build, forge your own path, be your own boss? Like, it's a lot of us, myself included, have that sort of conflicting, like, gosh, I know I'm worth more. I know that I can make more money or build better wealth. And I'm now doing it for some other schmuck that had a W-2 job. So talk to me about that sort of inner struggle, and if it was even an inner struggle.
It absolutely was. I look back at this and it's funny. There was such a stigmatism to this back when I was a kid, but I didn't even kind of diagnose myself for dyslexia or ADD. And I look back at it and just how much I struggled in school. I still managed to get good grades, and that, I don't know if that has to do with how my mind is wired, or just the fact that I had to learn how to work the system in order to get to the next stage in life. Nonetheless, it taught me all sorts of how to get creative and to be successful. So in corporate America, that was very useful to a point. I would come in and see new ways of doing things, and then eventually would hit a ceiling and become very frustrated. And this happened over years and years. And finally, I realized that if I was going to make the leap, I kind of had to burn the ships, so to speak. And it's funny, it's not burn the ships all at one time. It was more of burn the ships over a 4-year period to ultimately make the big leap.
Right. And you talk about a ceiling. I think there's so many people out there who are trying to have a side hustle or have that inner desire. They don't know what maybe it is today that they want to do, but they have that inner burn, and they can see that there's going to be a ceiling, right? And I vividly remember joining I made a transition from being a structural engineer into working for a developer. And the first 3 years was great. Learned so much in the business, but I think it was less than that. I think it was more like 18 to 24 months. But you get to that point where you can see the ceiling already, and you can see folks ahead of you that are going to be in line to take over manager or director or partner or whatever that is. And you can see it pretty quick. Was that something prevalent that you were seeing a lot in your career before you made that jump? And then ultimately seeing so many ceilings, like, screw it, I need to go break that ceiling and do it myself.
I did. And I think that was the frustration that I kept having, that was difficult, really. And, but it wasn't that motivated me. It wasn't, I'm going to go do this better than the company I'm working for. I was in software, working in fintech, and working in financial, working with banks and institutions. So I've definitely leveraged that. I saw ways of leveraging my partnerships and relationships that I'd made in the industry. But when it came to what drove me to building something from nothing, it was really in parallel to my professional career, which started at Morgan Stanley. I was trained in trading stocks and bonds and financial advising on the retail space. My passion was to help people build wealth. And it didn't take long that was the wrong place to do it. And I say I was saved by software. So most of my career, I was in enterprise sales and enterprise software, where we were working with bank institutions and other financial institutions. And so while I was doing that throughout my career, back in the 2008, the last financial global crisis, the Great Recession, my brothers and I kind of saw what was up. We saw that having a good job and being dependent on the stock market was not going to be enough. And to live the life we wanted to live, to have financial freedom, that we needed to figure something out and do more and take ownership in something. And we always saw real estate as a way to hack wealth without having to give up our day jobs. You mentioned side hustle, and that was what we wanted to do. But we never, we had no experience at real estate investment. We didn't grow up in a house where we learned about real estate investing, but that was part of it. We said, listen, let's learn and grow together. But we kept running into the same challenge, which was to break into the private markets, to break into real estate, you need capital, lump sums of money that we just didn't have. And on a fishing trip in Patagonia, Chile, on a trip that we couldn't afford, I mean, quite honestly, we had our breakthrough. We said, listen, let's, instead of talking about the deals that we can't afford, let's take care of the problem right in front of us, which was capital. And we each agreed to a manageable and monthly contribution of $500 each. And that was it. It was a stretch, but it was manageable. And between the four of us, that was $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year. One investment led to another, And by forming and funding that investor group, that tribe, we secured and unlocked a future we could have never dreamed of. And so that was happening throughout my career. And people started to catch wind of the deals we were doing, which were incredible. And they said, how are you in these deals? And I told them, and they said, wait a minute, I have a tribe of like-minded people that I know, like, and trust. And we have shared financial dreams and aspirations. Can you help us form an investor group? Help us form a tribe. And that was when we kind of realized that there was something missing out there in the world that I was uniquely positioned to help with.
So how many deals did you and your brothers do before the inception of the actual website, which is now Tribevest?
Yeah, so probably 20 deals.
Wow, okay.
Over 12 years.
Okay, so it's a long time.
Yeah, you think about it over time. We're not, I haven't been invited onto your show as a, incredible real estate investor. In fact, we just always wanted to do it as a side gig. Mm-hmm. And even more important than the deal for us was learning the agency, learning the repertoire. You can take all of our properties away and we're still financially free because we have learned we could do it all again, right? We could do it all again. And to us, that was the big freedom. So we never made it our full-time job to invest in real estate. But it did afford us to, take the jobs that we wanted to take. It could afford me to start Tribevest. It could afford us to vacation together and live the life we've always wanted to live. And so anyway, I don't have this awesome real estate empire to speak of, but it definitely gave us the financial freedom that we wanted.
And it's interesting you spoke about financial freedom and not the essence of, yes, the essence of having enough capital to be, pay the bills and not have to have a W-2. But what you said there, where you said you could take all the properties away and we've got the financial freedom and knowledge to go and build it again, right? So you could go do the same thing, even though those specific deals may not have worked out or whatever. Like in a hypothetical scenario, they vanish in thin air. The financial freedom part you're speaking about was the knowledge that you could go repeat it. And I think that's kind of key.
No doubt. And the tribe. So the knowledge in the tribe. And of course, when we talk about tribes, we're talking about our intimate investor group of 2 to 5 people or 2 to 10 people. But there's also this extended tribe that's part of that knowledge. That's part of that repertoire that we've built up. We have people like you, Reed, that know this business inside and out. And we have those contacts now. And so it's also about the network that we've developed that's so valuable. Again, more valuable than the assets.
Right. So how much did you mentioned in the beginning when I asked you the question about how you made your first ever dollar, and you said you had a blog and that came through subscription based. Did that help you with the knowledge of the online platforms that you could build and the power of those online platforms to help you go and plant the seeds of Tribevest and start cultivating those online communities at all?
Yeah, I said it before, the burning of the ships. If you want to take the island, burn the ships. And I did it over 5 years. And one of the first things I did was, could I go make money online?
Hmm.
And I was fortunate to have some people that were around me that were doing the same thing and I could learn from. But that was a huge step for me. It also helped me realize just about scale and what an incredible time we live in, that we could be in Columbus, Ohio, or Los Angeles, or wherever, and really access the world. And so, no doubt, by doing that, unlocked all sorts of um, new ways of thinking and perspective, which ultimately led to launching the Tribevest business.
So now let's pivot and let's talk about the business itself and how you help both operators and other people who want to get involved in real estate deals. And I think one thing that people missed, you really focus on the sort of 2 to say less than 10, cultivating of 2 to 10 investors in any one particular group. Do you want to walk us through the sort of ins and outs of how people meet each other, and how do you form those relationships online, the trust relationships to form that tribe in order to go off and then use the platform or go off and then fund a deal?
Absolutely. So, I always talk about the platform today, tomorrow, and in the future. And today, it's very much your tribe or our tribes are with people they already know, like, and trust. So people that are in their social network. In my brothers and I's case, we were brothers. I always say brothers, but there were a couple of cousins in there that we claim as brothers. And for others, it's the neighbor down the street that you want to buy a single family rental that's around the corner, because it makes sense and it's smart, and no one knows that deal better than you because you live in that neighborhood. So today it's all about people you already know, like, and trust, that have the same dreams or in the same kind of position as you to invest in things. And our platform gives you a place to assemble. It gives you a place to build your dream and vision, and invite your prospective members in. And you actually go through an alignment process, Reed, where before you do go into business with them, before you actually start pulling capital, you want to qualify that that's a good match. And we're just as proud of the groups that decide not to go on into business together as the ones that go on to do incredible things. And so you come in, you assemble, you align, you propose the rules of the game, the how much, the how long, then what, and what if. And we always say, more important than the rules are the rules up front, right? Well, while it's not emotional, while we've all agreed, how are we going to handle these things when they do happen? And our platform helps you work through those things in a fun way, not an awkward way. And that's like a huge part of what we do, is we're a neutral third party. So you've assembled, you've aligned, you've come up with the rules, and now on our platform, you can file your LLC, get your operating agreement, you can open up a business bank account, FDIC insured, all online, and start to pull capital. And not just, hey, let's all throw in $20,000 to get to $100,000, but why don't we do $500 a month, like my brothers and I did, right? We didn't have the tens of thousands of dollars to all throw in. So we started with $500 a month, and Tribevest makes it super easy to set up that discipline, an automatic ACH. Everybody comes in and sees a shared dashboard, and it gets exciting. You see a big number growing and start to think about the next deal.
So it sounds like it's a little bit of a foot in either camp of helping prep people for getting involved in real estate, but also the other side of the coin, which I want to maybe focus a little bit more on, is once you have prepped people, you've got the LLC, you've got the funding that you've saved over a period of time. How do you make sure that you are partnering with the right operator? Because obviously a lot of things look good on paper. A lot of dreams great pitch decks. But if you don't have the right people who found the deal, who analyzed the deal to make sure it's going to work, particularly like if a flip project, make sure who's going to look after the construction and make sure it's done on time. So how do you deal with that part of making sure the tribe has a not necessarily a leader, but someone who's got the knowledge and the experience to make sure that the deal will go through as promised?
Yeah, great question. And I can walk through my own tribe's hard lessons and experiences. Initially it was us, which didn't have any knowledge, going out and doing single family rentals and stumbling along. And we really leaned on each other. And so, that was one approach. And, but then we did get into, let's get into bigger deals, ones that we wouldn't be leading. And, looking into other syndications and other commercial deals. And how do we make a decision on moving forward with the deal? And I think that's one of the real powers of the tribe. You think about it, pulling capital is kind of this obvious benefit, right? This opportunity to pull capital and get into a deal that you wouldn't be able to get into on your own, getting into more deals as a result of being a tribe. But the other benefits include, spreading the risk across, and then this coming together to make a decision. And if 4 of us or 5 of us are all shaking our heads and saying, guys, this is a good deal, and here's why, and we all agree, it's a good deal. Like, right. 5 reasonable people coming together, all looking at the same deal from different angles, and if you agree that you should go forward. So coming to a decision is another just fantastic benefit of investing with your tribe.
And you speak about other people who've done bigger and larger deals. I obviously take down big deals, 200-300 units, and we raise millions of dollars in equity. Are you going actively out and courting operators to come on the platform and present deals so other people can see them on the platform? So that you have, okay, this person's got a track record and they're in this particular neighborhood of Columbus, Ohio. We know the area. So maybe there's a couple of other folks on Tribevest who would be interested in this shopping center down the street. And here's the developer and or person who has the experience, you present them on the platform like that. Is that an element of the platform right now?
It's not, and maybe someday it will be, but we are super deal agnostic. We are just so focused on helping that investor group and keeping the relationships first, right? Right. When you get those, and you get people that are motivated entrepreneurs, they're super driven, and it's fun. Getting the deal is fun, and it's a little bit of our job to say, you guys, listen, more valuable than anything is your relationships. And anybody that's been in business long enough knows that. But we forget, and so Tribevest is that kind of constant reminder to make sure that the relationship is always a priority. And then the deals, they take care of themselves. It's incredible. Our customers find us after listening to your podcast or after working with you, right? And they're looking for a way to do this in a smart, streamlined way. They found the deal down the road from their house with their neighbor on the single family. So they're coming with these deals already. They're just trying to figure out how to do them. Right.
And I guess that's where the Tribevest facilitates that sort of process of pulling that together. And another element and I don't know if it's part of it, seems like a very natural, organic growth is having an element of education on the front end with any particular, buying a single family is completely different to buying a commercial building or buying a multifamily or buying a mobile home park. I feel like there could be some element that you could have some education in there to help facilitate those conversations, and the existing customers on the platform can help build knowledge themselves so they can, now I didn't even think about commercial. Oh, I know one down the street, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you've given them tools to then go out and nearly, not bird dog, but think outside the box of just maybe a single family or whatever niche that they might be thinking in.
Yeah, Reed, you're really kind of hitting on all the real exciting parts of of Tribevest, and it just continues to evolve. But absolutely, there's an element of education here. And I think what's so exciting is it's really the community that's educating. And, we're big believers, as you might imagine, as an entrepreneur, that, the best education is experience and talking to people that have that experience or having that experience yourself. And you just have a ton of that going on the platform.
Right.
But yeah, you're spot on. A great place to come and kind of take a first step, and then take a look up and see, where else could, where can I take this knowledge? And take
or where can I talk to someone else who I know on the platform that could help bring, I know they know what they're talking about, so maybe they could bring a little bit of education to the other folks on the platform who are interested to know a little bit more. So,
did you guys have country clubs in Australia?
No, surf clubs, mate. We're slightly different, but if you've ever been to Bondi, the Bondi Surf Club, you would have seen there's sort of a congregation of community, I think is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, well, and of course, in the States, the country club is very exclusive.
Right.
But you think about it, had everything you needed. You had your friends were there. One of them was an attorney. One of them was in real estate. One of them is insurance. One of them's, property management. And you kind of have like this built-in community, but it's exclusive. Like you have to have a lot of money to get into that type of club. And you can think of Tribevest as this, great equalizer and leveling the playing field. Now we all have a place to go and network and find people, your extended tribe that I referenced earlier.
Yeah, no, I think that's, because the reference to the country club is it's stuffy and exclusive and I can't get in, but Tribevest is that opposite and saying, no, it can be accessible to everyone. The average Joe who just wants to be, in deals with his neighbors or his friends or his cousins or whatever it might be. So, or he or she, I should say. And so I think it's an incredible idea and not even idea, incredible business. I know we spoke in the green room a little bit before pressing record. The key element to Tribevest is the fact that everyone is a partner, an active partner. You're not actually selling securities in any of these deals. And I just want to make sure that's clear to the folks listening to this.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up. We have a ton of excitement right now, and registrations just continue to increase here. And we're getting all sorts of people curious and interested in, what is this? And, just to be clear, it's not a place to form a syndicate or put a deal together and to assemble passive investors. If you come to Tribevest, you're forming a tribe where you all own this entity, this LLC, and you're all active. In fact, our platform shows that you're active because there's usually a voting requirement for you to make a major transaction, which just by definition shows that you're all active in the process and have skin in the game. So no, and you think about it, you wouldn't come here to form a syndicate, but you might come here to participate in a syndicate that you might not have done on your own. But together as a group, I can afford $100,000.
Right.
And I wouldn't do that on my own, but if I spread that around within my group, I will do that.
And just to clarify for everyone listening, syndicate and syndication, very similar words. But what Travis is saying is that essentially it's a JV, it's a joint venture. Everyone has equal voting rights. And when you have equal voting rights, you don't need an SEC attorney, because it's only when you're selling limited partnership voting rights that you're selling the security, and thus you trigger the SEC laws. So Travis is on the other side of that, where it's more all JVs coming together. Everyone is, understands the deal, has equal voting rights, and can make decisions, whether to paint the house purple or to refinance it or to sell it, whatever it might be. So everyone has an equal share. I just want to make that very, very clear for people before thinking they can jump on and start getting passive investors, because that's not how it works. But Travis, what has 2020 got in store for you and beyond? It sounds like it's growing. And I guess how many years have you been at this now?
We've been a company for 2.5 years, and it's been a process. We are, in a lot of ways, we've just launched though.
Hmm.
Initially, it was with a very small segment of tribes, and we're now on our second version platform. In fact, we just released it earlier this year, and so we're in an incredible position to continue to scale and do this, you know, with in a bigger population and at more value of volume. So we're going to continue to improve the platform, and we're listening to our customers, what's most important, and we just continue to optimize. And it's a little bit it's leading us to what's next for Tribevest. But a lot of it has to do with that network that we brought that you mentioned before. That the network piece of this and the social aspect of this is kind of this unknown. It's a lot of what's bringing groups together is people are looking for more things to do, more ways to connect with people they like, with people they care about. And as your audience knows, there is nothing more thrilling than real estate and taking ownership. And when you think about doing that with people you care about, it's just 10 times better. I'm reading a book called Hacking the American Mind. And, pleasure is something that you experience on your own.
Yep.
And happiness is something you experience with others. And Tribevest is a great way to turn real estate investing into something that makes you really happy.
Yeah, no, I can completely agree with it. But as you're saying all that, my mind's ticking for you of all the opportunities that I'm thinking, okay, first and foremost, you've got your pooling of people together, but then there's also the services you provide of like the legal entities, the bank accounts, which are really valuable, particularly even for like overseas investors that I'm even thinking about. But then you've got the education piece on the front end that you could bring in at some sort of education platform. And then you've got the sort of the diversification into bigger, or not bigger deals, but different deals. You're not just single family, but commercial, retail. But there's just the plethora of options that you have in order to be an A to Z type of shop. I forgot even thought, we use an online platform for all our investors called Investor Deal Room, but you could have a secure login where people could see the transactions of, where the passive income or the distributions or the K1s or the tax forms, that you could use it as a portal. So, there's 6 things I've just mentioned there that are all different business plans in themselves. But it sounds like the world's your oyster. You've got a massive future of growth ahead of you. So well done.
Reed, yeah, you're spot on. I mean, everybody quickly wants to go to the deal, right? Oh, you need to have deals and be bringing your investors deals, and maybe someday. But as you just detailed better than I could, there's so many services that we can offer, and we're just beginning to do that.
Right.
There's all sorts of things that we're partnered with realtors and insurance companies, and that's how we also keep the cost really low for our customers. Is when they do need a service and they use our service partners, it's a great opportunity and revenue opportunity for us, and a great business model. And again, it keeps the cost down for our investor groups.
Love it, mate. Well, look, buddy, I want to be very conscious of your time. At the end of every show, we do wrap it up with the top 5 investing tips. You ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
Mate, what is the daily habit you practice to keep on track towards your goals?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
What's the daily habit you practice to keep on track towards your goals?
I wake up every morning and I do 3 gratitudes, and I actually keep this on a spreadsheet. I do 3 gratitudes. I'll document my vision for the day, and then I will meditate for 20 minutes,
wow,
thinking about the tasks ahead and how I want to achieve them.
That's great. How long have you been meditating for?
5 years.
Nice. I'm sure it would have been a huge change, right, in your life. I've only just started in the last year and a half, and it's been, game changing for me from a mental point of view.
Game changing. I don't know how else to say it. Like there's
right.
Not everything. There's very few things that work for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I find it really hard that meditating couldn't help improve every one of your listeners'
Or,
lives.
yeah, some aspect of your life, right, that you're maybe struggling with. So, yeah. Second question is, who's the most influential person in your career?
Great question. I was fortunate around the same time. I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but I met a gentleman by the name of Pete Kite. Pete was the founder and CEO of a company called CheckFree,
Hmm.
which is essentially the rails and the process of what we know today as online bill pay.
Okay.
So if you can go on and pay your bills, but Pete Kite built a multi-billion-dollar business and exited for $4.5 billion about 10
Wow.
years. And I never thought about being able to build $1 billion business until he took the time to talk to me.
Nice. Is he still part of your advisory group today?
He is. He's part of the company. He's our chief advisor and a very important person. And again, it's all about, it's easy to read about people. It's easy to see them on TV or on YouTube, but until someone takes the time to meet you, it's hard to make that real. And
Mm.
that's what he did for me.
That's awesome. That's incredible. And probably giving you permission that you could get to that point of $1 billion. Like, you may not ever dream of it, but there's like the possibilities there, right? So,
We're dreaming of it. We're dreaming of it. And we all have our self-limited beliefs.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. The reptile brain, right? So, mate, question number 3, in your business, what is the most influential tool you use on a daily, on the daily, which means when I say tool, it could be a physical tool like a phone or a journal, or it could be a software that you use that you just can't run the business without. So what's the number one tool that you use in the business?
I would say blogging, to be able to get the word out the way that we do is just so powerful and really, new, never, like within the last 20 years, have not all of us had this incredible megaphone and opportunity to reach so many people through the written word.
Right. No, I love the analogy of the megaphone. Yeah, everyone does have the opportunity to have a megaphone, whether it's through podcasting or blogging or videos. So go out and grab your own megaphone today.
Right.
In one sentence, what has been the biggest failure in your career? What did you learn from that failure?
Gosh, I'm sorry, man.
No, take your time. This is good. The dramatic pause.
Yeah, the dramatic pause. It's all part of it. Gosh, my biggest failure in my career was not being afraid to fail.
Mm.
That's the biggest mistake of my career. It took me so long to figure out that that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go out and fail and take a risk and expect to fail. And just think about all the wonderful learnings and perspectives and ultimately a foundation for your next chance to go out and fail. So my biggest mistake by far is just being scared to fail.
Well, being okay with it being a possibility, right? Whether that comes to fruition or not, but being okay with, okay, the consequence could be X, but I'm okay with that consequence. So, yeah. Mate, last question. Where can people reach you to continue the conversation? They want to be in your sphere a little bit more. Where do they go?
Thanks for that. It's you can first of all go to Tribevest, TRIBEVEST.com, tribevest.com. You can also find us at Tribevest on Facebook, and you can follow me at TribeTrav, that's TRAV, on Twitter.
Awesome, man. Well, look, I want to just repeat back some of the awesome learnings that I've been jotting down here on my piece of paper from today's conversation. I think a good one that we've all gone through, or people who are listening to the show probably are going through, is the element of the ceiling in their day job and realizing that there's more. You need to break that ceiling, and if you want to go out and be an entrepreneur and being okay with taking those risks and that failure you're talking about, the scared of failing is really something that keeps us from fulfilling our ultimate potential. So I think that's really, really important there. But I think the biggest thing is your passion to help other people grow and have at their fingertips the ability to invest in deals that they may not necessarily have been able to invest in the past, or didn't even realize was just next door, or a person also thought the same way about them, and really having the community first aspect of the platform, leading with that. And when you have such a strong mission to lead with that first, the money's not the goal, the making $1 billion isn't the goal, it's the community first. That is the most important thing of any fundamentals of a business. And I think that is going to ultimately set you up for success and your business up for success because you're focused on the right things. So did I leave anything out?
No, Reed, thanks for that. And I've been looking forward to this meeting. And you just, your summary there is exactly why, and that you were able to pick that up. You're a wise man.
Well, thank you. Well, mate, I want to thank you for jumping on the show today. Enjoy your rest of your week. Stay safe, wash your hands, and we'll catch up very, very soon.
Will do. Thanks, Reed.
Well, there you have another cracking episode, jam-packed with some incredible advice from Travis. Please do go onto his website, tribevest.com. It's VEST, and check it out because it's a really powerful platform that could help you if you're wanting to get started investing in real estate and you want to maybe join forces with some other folks. I want to thank you all again for taking some time out of your day to tune in to continue to grow your financial IQ, because that's what we're all about here on this show. And if you want to give back, the easiest way is just to jump onto iTunes and give the show a 5-star review. And we're going to do it all again next week. So be bold, be brave, and remember, go give life a crack.